Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gentlemen, fillies and genticles, dragons of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Pondering Pony. I'm your host, John, and with me I have my co-host. He's great for target practice, Jay.
That was a very good My Little Pony evil minion voice. Because they all kind of
Yes.
sound the same.
Yeah, I mean that's the evil minion voice to have at that time period. So I would have
Yep.
made bank back then. Anyway, this is a podcast about toy media franchises, 2000s nostalgia, and whatever else we want to talk about. And this week we are back to talk about My Little Pony and Friends: The Return of Tambelon from Generation 1.
Yeah, this was released October 20th through 23rd, 1986. Written by Michael Reeves, very prolific TV writer. Wrote episodes of The Twilight Zone, Star Trek The Next Generation, Transformers, He-Man, Batman the Animated Series, Gargoyles, many more. Were you familiar with this writer before doing research for this?
Yeah, so like I saw the writer's name when I first watched this like a couple years ago on this episode, and I'm like, okay, Michael Reeves seems familiar. And then I looked him up, and it's like, oh yeah, BTAS, that's where I know him from. And also from the Transformers show we did when we did that episode
Yeah.
for the series. I was familiar with him back then, so I was just like, I can't wait to talk about him. Recently, I learned that he also was very prolific in book writing as well, specifically for
Okay.
the sci-fi genre. So he wrote some of like the old Legends Star Wars books. So yeah,
Oh, neat. Yeah.
yeah,
Don't know that I've
yeah,
read any of these, but
yeah.
That's cool.
For Twilight Zone, it's specifically the '80s remake.
Yeah.
Not the original.
Yeah, so we once again have animation by Sunbrow Productions, Marvel Productions, and toy animation with music by Rob Walsh and songs by Tommy Goodman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the plot for this one. So the unicorns of Paradise Estate have started disappearing every time they try to wink out or teleport. And in a dream, Megan sees that they have been trapped in Tambelon, a city that disappeared 500 years ago. And it is ruled by Grogu. I knew that my brain was tweaking out when I saw that. Yeah, Grogu, an evil goat who wants to conquer all of Ponyland. Okay. So Tambelon appears in the valley, and Grogu sends his minions, the Troggles, out to capture all the ponies. And the ponies team up with Drog, a Troggle who is trying to escape the city and break out. And Grogu tries to stop them, but Megan rings a bell in the city that breaks his magic collar. And the ponies and Troggles escape just as the city disappears once again. Yeah. Grogu the blue goat.
Okay, did you see the recent article on The Onion about the Mandalorian and Grogu?
I did not. No.
Okay,
Let me
so I'm sending it to you, but I'll just read the headline. This is from April 1st, about the new upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu. Report: decision not to call film the Baby Yoda movie to cost Disney $900 million.
Makes sense. Yeah. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. Most people don't call him Grogu.
Nope. But we do call Grogar Grogu.
Grogar. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, this is this is an interesting one. I was actually kind of vibing with the first episode. We're introduced to Tambelon as like this weird nightmare dimension. It was reminding me a bit of Call of Cthulhu with the city of Earlier, like this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's this weird thing that we're like seeing little bits and pieces of, and what's this shadowy being that rules over it? Yeah, this is kind of stuff that I really enjoy. Just like, yeah, this ominous dark city that there's like these disappearances, which is, I mean, that's cool as well. This like previously safe power that is now no longer safe. Yeah, I was really enjoyed it. And then we cut to the dungeon in Tambelon, and we start to meet some of the minions here, including mainly Bray, the sort of second
Yeah.
in command donkey, and
Ah!
any sense of tension immediately left.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Bray is just not a great one to go with because like you already have yeah, you have Grogar there. Grogar is
Yeah.
enough. But
Yes.
all the minions just kind of they really deflate this. Honestly, this whole story has an epic scale to this because you get almost all the creatures that we've seen throughout the show. Like you get the ponies, you get the flutter ponies, you get the bush willies, of course, but then we also get the grumbles,
Yeah.
which was like, oh hey, all these characters are coming back, and Grogar's threat is big enough to like capture all of them, and it's like, oh, this is a huge scale. But then you remember, oh, well, we've seen this done with every other storyline before, so it's not that special. And
Yep.
it's unfortunate. It's like, ah, man, if this was the only one that did the real estate and slavery scheme, I mean, the difference
uh,
is this is both a real estate and slavery scheme, so it's still grand in a way. But yeah, no,
yeah.
the tension is lost. It's very silly and ultimately just very disappointing by the end. It's like, ah, I see a tremendous potential in this story, but
Yeah.
man, does it not reach those heights?
Yeah, looking up the writer afterwards would be like, oh, this is someone who has like a lot of experience across a lot of genre fiction, and especially like in I like yeah, those elements are really here, and when they get to be at the forefront, and it honestly, I think part of it is just less so a writing thing and more so a performance and visuals thing of
Sure,
because
that could
this is
help.
still My Little Pony, the villains minions have to look a little silly and they all talk silly, and so
Yeah,
yeah, you don't get a sense of tension from any of it. That
yeah,
yeah, I was disappointed.
yeah. Michael Reeves does do. He does at least one more episode, and I really like the other episode. It's one of my
Okay.
favorites of the series. That could be the next one we do for G1. We'll see, but I'm
Okay.
curious to see your thoughts on that one in particular.
Yeah. Yeah, this does end up just being another episode about how all the characters are going to get kidnapped, and negotiating who is kidnapped at which point and who is escaping, and oh, now they're kidnapped again. And
Yeah, no, again, that's the plot of every episode.
yep.
Unfortunately, it's either a slavery scheme or a real estate scheme. This one was a combination of both. But specifically, Grogar wants slaves with fingers and hands.
Yes,
So
I'm
it's
glad
like,
that they addressed that specifically, because that is a thought that I had at a certain I've had at certain points. Like, yeah, that is, but it is. I mean, we've seen this over and over. At the beginning of the episode, when it's like, oh no, the unicorns are disappearing, we should set out a search party for some of them. And Megan's like, oh, let's not jump to that conclusion right now. It's like, Megan, this is the 15th time this has happened. Why do you think they're like just around the corner? They're not just around the corner. They have been kidnapped by some supernatural force. We've done this so many times before. We will do this so many times again. Come on,
yeah,
Megan.
yeah,
This happens every week.
yeah. No, I mean Michael Reeves here was very much learned on this show because he kept mentioning things from past episodes. I'm like, oh
Uh-huh.
wow, that's a mention there. This character and that character. Were you given like a Bible sheet to look at, or did you take a look at some early scripts and saw those details? I'm curious to see how that worked out.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I guess it makes sense if he's like a someone who is working in Star Wars, that he would be able to navigate an existing canon of things and
Sure.
try and find ways to bring stuff back. Yeah, no. I can understand why, especially for you as someone who enjoys the lore aspect of things, how that kind of stuff worked very well for you. For me, I'm like, I'm tired of the bush woolies. I don't need to see the grumbles again. I was like, oh, here's this new interesting thing that we're doing. And then it's just, oh, it's more of the same. and the Bush
Mm.
Woolies are there too.
I'm just
I
trying to
will
think
say,
ahead. It's like
yeah,
how much more times do we see the Bush release and important stuff? I mean,
it's if
they're
it
never
were,
important. They're like there
yeah,
to like comment on something and that's it. Typically.
yeah. It isn't like if this were more interesting, if this had more tension throughout, I think I wouldn't mind the Bush Woolies as much. The fact that, this, it just makes something that started out feeling very unique just feel like more of the same. Um, Whereas like the
Yeah,
previous arc with Bright Lights, we got a little bit. They were playing a little bit more. They had a little bit more interesting of a villain, or I guess not quite villain. Um,
but the scheme felt more interesting than just real estate and slavery.
yeah,
There
yeah,
was like we need the children's soul and shadows to power this uh ghost monster. I don't know, god monster.
Wizard, I think, yeah. So
Yeah,
something like that.
something like
I will,
that.
to give this credit. The end of this is, the city is going to be disappearing at midnight, and so there's this ticking clock of, they have to, and it's like I didn't time it because I think like it is cool when the timing matches up, but I think that's not like a
Oh,
necessity for me.
yeah.
Um,
Don't know why like the forces of Grogar were still in the city that close to midnight when they knew
uh,
like it was going to end. Um, I love the finale of this because it's told through
yeah,
song. Uh, like the final thing of them, it's like told through a song, which is a really rare thing. I don't know if they ever do that again, but it was like, oh, that is so unique. I wish they did that more. Told the story through the song than just having a song. Um, so
yeah,
that was pretty cool. There are some stuff like Grogar leaves his bell in the open that defeats him.
yes.
No security or protection. It's just like, yep, just the old bill right here, right in the open for anyone to come across. It's like, okay, well,
To be fair, it is at the top of like a tower or something. So
I mean, still, it's
yeah,
just,
yeah.
yeah, no. The tape recorder with thing with Danny was just, I don't know.
That
That's
yeah, that is like a more it doesn't make sense as a plan. Um but I like that they were thinking through things to that degree.
mm,
It's just kind of by the nature of what the show is, and like yeah, it doesn't work out because it can't work out because it's what the middle of the third episode.
yeah. It's again like the logic behind it's all weird, and then it doesn't even really work because Grogar
Yeah.
is like, I don't. Yeah, I've got you surrounded, and just charges them. Like their plan.
I'm not surrounded by you, you're surrounded by me.
Yep. There's also a very convenient turncoats. I wish there was
Yeah.
more setup to that than just. Actually, I'm a turncoat. There's actually more of us who are turncoats, but we don't really get to see that side of the dilemma. It's just that one character, really.
But okay, my favorite line of this episode um comes from when this turncoat gets thrown in the cell with them, and one of the ponies is like, "Wait, he just called you a traitor. That means you didn't betray us." It's like, okay, within the context of the episode, I understand, and that makes sense. You
Yeah.
pull that line out.
I mean, followed by the line about cracks and all that, which was just
That you using the girl again, it's like these are creative ideas. They don't fully work. Maybe it's just, I'm biased now because I know who the writer is, but I do feel like there is thought being put into this from like a different perspective than previous episodes have been going for.
sure.
There's
Yeah.
more of like that, those genre sensibilities that I would associate with someone who has worked on all of these shows.
Hmm.
And specifically like, yeah, someone who has worked in Star Wars and Star Trek, and those worlds having like a different feel to them than the typical My Little Pony stuff.
Yeah. I mean, this is an episode that has been talked about within the wider pony fandom.
Okay.
For one specific reason, and we'll talk about that specific reason. it's not too difficult to guess which reason that is, but yeah.
I may not be able to guess what that reason is, but I assume
For sure.
we'll get into it.
It's yeah. um
Yeah, Megan is once again sort of this. She just there's nothing interesting to her at this point.
no.
She's fallen into that like Barbie zone that Barbie
Yeah.
so often falls into of just she's like blandly competent, blandly optimistic, and it makes sense because this is like that's the thing with like Winnie the Pooh, and you have Christopher Robin as like the kid character who is sort of
Christopher
overseeing all of
Robin.
them. But you get enough time where like Christopher Robin isn't present for an adventure, or like it's still very much colored by like Christopher Robin being a kid and making like kid mistake or not mistakes, but spelling errors or things like that. And it's like, oh yeah, this is still there's a little bit more there. Megan is just like she's she's there and she does everything right.
Yep. Yeah. Winnie the Pooh, you're stuck in that hole, you're too fat, you're gonna have to go on a diet all winter, and so when you get skinny, we're gonna pull you out. Yeah.
The ponies as well, they continue to be the ponies.
Yeah,
um
although okay, so this was the episode where I finally figured out that the baby ponies were just duplicates of the main ponies, and I didn't
okay.
realize that there were two separate ones until I saw that the baby ribbons and the mother ribbons in the same screen at the same time. It's like, hold on,
Yeah,
hold
there
on.
is actually like they do directly like refer to, because I caught that as well, which obviously you had already explained that. I probably wouldn't have caught on to that until this
Yeah,
episode if you hadn't mentioned
yeah,
it.
yeah. So I made sure to mention it to you so you would be prepared. But it's like, man, if you didn't have the merchandise or you didn't know the pony lore, this would have been like a twist of like, oh, wait, there's two of them? Oh, no wonder why sometimes they act more toddler like or more adult like.
I
Oh,
I have no sense of character continuity with the show. I do not remember
sure,
which pony is which, so that
sure.
was never an issue with me. I cannot tell you who the ponies, like the names or personalities of the ponies who were the main ponies of the Bright Lights arc were. Um, you can go back to that
Honestly,
episode and listen to it, but that
yeah.
information has left my brain.
Honestly, none of like the main contenders were really in that episode. I guess Heartthrob, but like, is she really one of those? Nah.
Yeah, here I did feel like I was getting a little bit more. We have the one pony who's a little bit more like rarity. Um,
I think it was
after
Heartthrob.
the
Yeah.
okay, yeah, it was that does sound correct. But after the dungeon, she's like worried about her appearance. Like it's like,
Mhm.
no, we don't have time for that. Then there's the one who's like always speaking in like Britishisms.
That's oh, I don't know if it's North Star or something like that. Yeah, there was
Okay,
just a random British pony in this episode. I was like,
yeah,
what? Uh, their key to mark was a compass, so I guess because of that they're British. I don't know, but that's a
oh yeah,
unique
the
ism for
compass
the
is
pony.
a British invention.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
but yeah, no, I was like getting distinct personalities, even if I don't remember any of their names or what any of them look like. Well, by next episode, of course, I'll have forgotten all of it. But
Oh, that's
um,
fine. That's fine. Yeah.
Grogar is sort of the main big character here that is like he's a fun villain. He's a bit more ominous than some of the previous villains we've
Yeah.
gotten. Though once again let down by his incompetent minions, which is so
Y-
often the case with these types.
Yeah, so Grogar is the reason why this episode is thought of more,
Mm,
because again, he is such like, from a villain perspective, just from a design perspective, like he's
yeah,
blue with like the red eyes, like he just
there's
sits
like
there aura
he's
farming, looking cool.
he's like demonic in a way that
Mm,
none of the other
hmm.
villains have been, in a way that is like very uncommon for especially kids TV shows now. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean Grogar
Even
is
just being a goat is like
often. just like on a list of people of like, if we could have like a modern remake of a character, Grogar is one of them. So
Yeah,
I get it.
I'd be curious how they would bring him in. Because yeah, I feel like the stuff that makes him interesting is that he is sort of this ominous presence, but then yeah, the of course it has to be undercut by that. That's like I feel like that's a Disney classic Disney thing of like you have the ominous villain and then the incompetent henchmen so that kids don't get too scared, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunate though. Like by himself, he's a great threat. Like he can
Yeah.
even like do stuff with his magic, and he's often the one doing stuff with his magic to capture the ponies.
Yeah.
But again, his minions are just so not there. Not
Uh,
interesting at all.
yeah,
Unfortunately,
Bray my notes
Bray.
just say
Uh, Bray.
there's nothing like specific about him
He's a donkey.
that makes
That's
him
it.
stand out as like any better or worse than any of the others. He's just like, yeah. I think because Grogar stands out so much as an interesting villain, or not even interesting, but the type of villain we haven't quite seen.
One that you would want more screen time to focus on than Bray
Yeah,
doing Bray
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, the Troggles are just kind of the same arc that we've seen with the Bushwoolies, where it's like, oh, here's this group of enslaved beings who now are going to rise up against their captor.
Yeah, except the Bushwillies, it wasn't that hard for them to escape. They
No.
just were fed up one day and left.
Although I don't know why it's difficult for the Troggles to. At no point am I like that. That's why it comes as such a shock that some of them want to leave, because it's like that isn't apparent with how they
Yeah,
have acted in the previous 3 episodes.
yeah, which is why I wish there were like more time spent with the Troggles to like define that attribute than just Drog or whoever that
I,
character was.
I don't need more time with the Troggles. I need them gone.
Me too,
Knock them
but
out.
still,
Knock Bray out.
to make that
Grogar is the
story
only.
work, you gotta just yeah. But no, Grogar just the villain. That would have been interesting to see. Only in fan fiction.
When they were telling the writers like, "Hey, you're gonna make this each episode or each arc, we have to introduce a new type of." Is that like something that the writers are being specifically told?
Maybe very
Because that's what it feels like.
honestly, it would probably make sense that way because again, they're doing 10-minute things, so
Yeah.
they have to have each 10-minute thing be something different. Um, Depending on the writers, some of them can do that better than others. So
It's part of it is just that there's so many that it's the thing of it's the Marvel thing, the MCU thing of one secret society that has existed the entire time and has been secretly influencing things behind the scenes. Like you're like, oh, that's neat. But then it's like every new movie is, oh, not only is there Hydra, now there is also Wakanda and the Atlanteans and the I don't know, the Eternals. It's like each new thing is like, oh, there's a new group of people who have been there the whole time, and you just haven't seen them yet, but they've been there. The scroll,
I, I mean, DC's worse
the
because they're all in Gotham. For some
that's
reason,
true.
you got the Order of Saint Dumas, you got a Court of Owls, you got some other group,
Uh,
Blackbriar or something. I don't know.
yeah, but no, it's like yeah, each arc we are getting a completely new species. I wonder if it's just that there is like, I guess, yeah, it does kind of make sense as this like fantasy thing of, oh, we're trying to like keep things fresh. I do wonder if it is like each of the writers are a little bit siloed off from each other, and so they're like, oh well, for my episode I will introduce this new group of beads, and then it's like, well, yeah, that's neat, but also every other writer has been doing that exact same thing.
I feel like it's just we have like a building full of writers, and then like an exec shows up is like, okay, we need you this week to do a pony episode. Uh, Here's the characters we want you to sell, so go ahead do that. And so they like spend a few days on it
Mhm.
while they also are working on Transformers and other shows that time period. So makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. That would be interesting to do like a not for this show because it's kind of way outside the purview of this show, but to do a chronological of like all of these various shows and try and like find the through lines um that are maybe showing up. But yeah, anyway,
Mm-hmm.
for the visuals here, I do really like the exteriors, at least for Tambelon. I feel like I have this issue with a lot of stuff where it's like I really like the exteriors of these like twisted, creepy cities and castles and that kind of thing, but then the interiors are just kind of like boring, dark dungeons.
Sure. Yeah.
Like
I mean,
here's a room with some bricks, some stone brick walls.
it's falling apart. Nobody's
Yeah,
upkeeping it. Cobwebs everywhere.
it's like yeah,
Yeah.
this is Maleficent's fortress from Sleeping Beauty. This is the evil guy's castle from Black Cauldron. Everything looks like this. It's like
Mm.
can't our evil villains get some slightly more interesting places to live? And
No,
the
we're in
exteriors look
fantasy
great. The
during.
exteriors look great.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
What, you expect more imagination in this? The poor animators who
Uh,
have no time to work on this? Yeah.
I like Grogu's throne room. That's kind of fun. And like the fire, the flame, there's like some fun artsy stuff going on with what's going on with the flame. I thought that
Hmm.
was neat.
Yeah. Sometimes we got like extra shadows and lighting for like one or
Yeah.
two shots where they're like in the darkness, and those were really cool. But then the next shot was just bland, and so
You know what I will give this episode credit for? There was nothing in the plot that made the fact that the characters are not drawn with shadows typically an issue.
yes. Yeah, exactly.
This feels
Exactly.
like it was written with a slightly more consideration for what the animators are able to achieve in the short amount of time that they have. I did notice when the grundles were popping out of the ground, sometimes they were
Yes.
popping out of just the regular ground instead of the hole in the ground. But
Yeah, the hole
yeah,
was not there for very long while they were popping out. Yeah. Um, Performances, we have Benna Bush, Carrie Houlihan, Scott Menville, Charlie Adler, Suzanne Blue, Katie Lee, BJ Ward, Sherry Lynn, Jeannie Elias, Sarah Partridge, Ellen Gerstel, Jill Wayne, Michael Bell, Frank Welker. And we don't know who voiced the sub other characters in this one. So, yeah.
Frank Welker voicing Bray, a likely place for him to be.
Yeah, I mean, sure. No one else would do it. Get Frank. He'll do anything.
Yeah, I continue to be again all of the, especially the baby ponies. Every line sounds like they are whining. What? No, it doesn't matter the context of the line. It sounds like they are whining. I know
Sure.
that's the style, but it's not fun to listen to.
One day, Jay, one day, when you're desperate, have nothing else, you'll get it. So for songs, we only have 3 songs. So there was an episode with no songs in it, which is interesting. The songs are
Yeah.
"Where Have the Unicorns Gone," "Escape," and "Let the Bell of Freedom Ring." And like I said, "Let the Bell of Freedom Ring" was actually did something other than just be a song to pass the time. It
Uh huh.
actually presented the events of the finale through it. The song itself, whatever. But what the events of the song were, I wish they did that more. Where have the
Yep.
unicorns gone? We don't need that. We just established that they're gone, and they asked that. There's no reason to sing about it for a minute and a half.
When did? Okay, the last unicorn was 82. Okay.
Mm.
Because they had like a line about, oh, you're the last of the unicorns, and then they sing the song, and I'm like, ah, oh, the last unicorn has a very good song. Um, yeah, that's a last unicorn. Just like for some reason, I was thinking a lot of that. I think because there's like certain crossover elements in terms of story, but
Mm.
anyway,
I
that doesn't
think
have anything to do with anything.
this is the only episode that's missing one song.
Okay.
Yeah. Because normally, like,
I
they've been
didn't
doing
miss it.
relatively well with including songs for each one. So for them to not include one was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Again, you
Yeah.
don't miss it because it's not important, but
Uh,
yeah, we're missing one.
Overall, again, this had I feel like Bright Lights as well had this thing. Bright Lights had more interesting things throughout, um, but a lot of potential that doesn't really end up getting realized as much as I would have hoped.
Hmm. Yeah, no, this definitely had so much potential, and it's probably just an outcome of the time period where they needed all those elements that don't work in it because that's what they needed for their toy line.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, no, I could see a much stronger use of this script. A remake would be interesting to see. Yeah.
Honestly, just a thing that I guess part of it is like, oh yeah, if I want the tone that this is that I find interesting here, I can watch, The Last Unicorn. So I don't really need a pony version of that. It would be neat to get a pony version of that, but I don't.
Sure.
I have The Last Unicorn. I can throw that on anytime. Actually, I don't
Yeah.
have a physical copy. I should get a DVD.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, in that case, thank you everyone for listening, and make sure to follow us on social media. We're Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram and Tumblr, Binging Barbie on Blue Sky and Serialized, and Binging Barbie Movie Podcast on Letterboxd. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a 5-star review and go join our Patreon at patreon.com/Binging Barbie Podcast. And we will be back next week for Season 2, Episodes 17 and 18 of Friendship is Magic. And until then, don't leave your magical bell that can defeat you lying around.
Oh
Bye.
man, where else am I supposed to put it? Bye.